I have a quote from Igor Stravinsky that I really like. It says, "My freedom consists in my moving about within the narrow frame that I have assigned myself for each one of my undertakings. The more constraints one imposes, the more one frees oneself from the chains that shackle the spirit." So for this exhibition, I've limited myself to 3 simple polygons. I'm using an equilateral triangle, a square, and a regular hexagon. And that's both for the ceramic wall sculpture and for double column. In many ways, you will look through the sculpture rather than at it, and the shapes suggest these larger volumes. I've been particularly influenced by artists and designers who like clean, simple shapes and more of a modernist clarity to their work. 3 painters in particular have been really influential, and that would be Bridget Riley, Frank Stella, and Saul LeWitt. At some point, I began thinking about proposing a piece for the MAM atrium, and one of the main reasons is that I feel very lucky that we live in a community with a museum that is so engaged with and supportive of the local and regional artists. I knew that if I put together a solid proposal, they would give it serious consideration, whether it went forward or not. So it allowed me to push beyond what I've done before and try something new, and that was really exciting. I took almost 6 months to develop my proposal. I started first with drawings and then with models. Originally, I anticipated that it would be a ceramic piece because all of the projects that I've done have always been ceramics, but through the drawings and then through the models, I started to realize that that might not be the best material, mostly because of the 2 properties of ceramics, that it's brittle and it's fragile, and in using that scale, the sculpture is going to be over 25 feet tall, 7 feet wide, 3.5 feet deep. It just seemed like I was introducing an element that was going to be very difficult to work with. So I switched to my first non-clay project, which is this aluminum tubing. It's also the first time I've tried a suspended sculpture. Up to this point, pretty much all of the work I've done has been wall-based. I've been thinking about scale for some time with my ceramic wall pieces, but not to this level. So I feel really lucky that I've gotten to try these new things out. At the same time that DoubleColumn is in the large atrium at the Missoula Art Museum, I will have another piece, a ceramic wall sculpture, hanging in the adjacent gallery. And that's the piece that I'm working on today. It's from a series titled Crystallography that I've been working on since 2012. And all of the pieces in this series are made up of these 12-inch long ceramic canes that are trapezoidal in cross section, and they're combined into a network of geometric shapes. I'm using slip rather than a solid clay, which means it's a liquid clay, and I'll pour it into my molds. I sieve it. I sometimes say that I'm not really a clay artist because, first of all, I'm using slip. I almost never touch real solid clay, and then I always wear my gloves. And you have to have the 2 holes, one for pouring in and one for the air to escape. So this is a nice one to see inside of, and you can see actually how that skin has built up on the sidewall there. The plaster is shockingly heavy to carry around with the liquid clay inside. This is a drawing for the show. And then next to it, I have kind of a funny photograph of my daughter. Across the street from our house is this climbing structure that is all geometric shapes. Their simplicity by being layered, all these layers, becomes really complex. You know, it's really interesting and it's kind of hard to figure out. So, oh, there. And then I use my little hole cutter. Yeah. Getting used to using this tool, and then also because being in this squatted over position all of the time is pretty tiring on your body. So I'm kind of doing half days in here, folding it over and then threading it through this and then crimping it down into place. And they come together in groups of 4, 6, 7 of them coming together. So you give it 3 crimps each time. I spent since the middle of July working on getting all of the metal cut and finishing the edges, getting it powder coated. If you look at the sculpture over here, the model, it's a series of interlocking spheres or globes. So I'm calling, even though this isn't really a sphere, that's what I'm calling it. And I'm calling it double column because it's 2 columns of the interlinking spheres that are connected there. There's the square, triangle, and a hexagon. I want to use really simple elements and a really clean design that still has complexity built into it. So this is the color gradation. So right now I'm on my 4th and 5th colors down. I figure this is good for my brain, right? This is kind of like a giant puzzle. First day I got home from doing this, my fingers were so sore from shoving this cable in.
You want to roll the card on there? Okay, down. All right, there. Okay, so when this lifts up,
cats are just like lazy.
this is what we're attaching the top on there, and this slides up and back.
Oh yeah.
We'll get it up just a little bit and then I'm going to put in some of the braces and we'll start unwrapping.
Let's just get it taut and see how we look.
Yep, keep going up. Okay, we can go up just a tiny bit more. And then that's about good. I'm going to need us to stop again. Okay, just be careful, Steve and John here.
Yeah, it's getting heavy, man. I don't like the stretch on this.
We can put a lock on the back.
Ready, lads?
Everyone ready for the pole?
1, 2, 3.
Upward. Higher.
A little bit higher.
Everyone,
1, 2, 3.
we're all at the end of our rope. Everybody pull up.
There.
We're over.
We're on.
Got it. We're all in.
Tighten it.
All right, hey, everybody focus a minute. We're all gonna have to go up a little bit.
You're there.
Got it.
It's on.
Got it. Maybe we better not leave it at this height.
Okay.
The space is attractive for a number of reasons. First of all, there's all of the natural light. So when you enter MAM, the first thing you see is that grand atrium there, which soars 40 feet high, and it has the skylight from above that filters down all of the light. And then below you have the windows with the front door that bring the light from below. And then as you walk up to the different levels of the museum, you get to view the sculpture from those various points as well. The intent is to envelop the viewer in an experience that gradually unfolds over this large space. In a lot of ways, the ceramic piece acts as a blueprint for the larger three-dimensional double column. Double column and the wall piece use these geometric shapes in a way that's very similar to some of the architectural screens and windows that are found in Asian and Islamic architecture. It also references some of the geodesic designs by Buckminster Fuller. With both pieces, I'm using the parameter of a set unit of a predetermined length. In the case of the wall piece, it's this trapezoidal shaped cane, and in terms of double column, it is the 20-inch long aluminum tube. I use a single repeated element that's joined together in a way that allows for openness or breadth, but still encompasses an entire area and engages that space through these very spare means. So that's the similarity that links both double column and the wall work. Not only has the Missoula Art Museum been supportive, but there's been a number of individuals and businesses who have provided their expertise and feedback in a way that has been very helpful. Joe Bernier was a local architect. He's now based out of Anchorage, Alaska, and I feel endlessly grateful to him right from the beginning. He has provided a sounding board kind of where I could bounce ideas off of him, and he always allowed me to feel confident that I could come up with a solution. Broadway Splicing, which is a rigging company here in town, has offered me space in their warehouse for building double column, and without that space I'm not exactly sure how I would have put the piece together. In addition, Justin, who works there, has been very helpful. Logan Photography has been documenting the process on almost a weekly basis since I started the construction of double column, and Logan Castor Parson is just a fantastic photographer. The Montana Arts Council has given me a grant that will allow us to do an exhibition catalog, and the Paul Allen Family Foundation has also generously provided funding for the exhibition. So I'm pretty lucky.
And it's your first large piece?
It is my first large piece, yeah. So it came together. It was fun.
You're happy with it?
I am pretty happy with it, yeah. Nice to see you.